democracy as a universal aspiration. Ideally a reality, but at least an aspiration. It is in large part because India chose a democratic model after independence. And it chose a democratic model because we had fundamentally a consultative, pluralistic society. Now, there was a time, and I have to say this in all honesty, where West treated democracy as a Western characteristic and was busy encouraging non-democratic forces in the global South. It still does. I mean, in many cases, I can point to some very recent ones, where actually everything that you say you value at home, you don't practice abroad. So I do think the rest of the global South will view, the successes and the shortcomings and the responses of other countries. They will also ask themselves which ones of them they relate to, I would argue that in many ways, India, because it's historically been an open society, one very much linked with the world, many countries of the global South are more likely to say the Indian experience is more transposable to their societies than perhaps those of others. So I do think in our progress as a democracy, the fact that for all the challenges that we've had, even at a low income, we have stayed true to the democratic model, which is almost, if you look at our part of the world, we are pretty much the only country.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching 6 Stories at 6 with me, Tanisha Awasthi. Let's quickly get started with the 6 stories that have set the agenda for today. The Tukde gang is back in action. Ladies and gentlemen, and at the heart of it is back in focus, the Jawaharlal Nehru University in Delhi. In Tamil Nadu, it is a huge win for the Hindu side on the Deepam verdict, and we will tell you why. In Andhra Pradesh, gas leak at the ONGC well has triggered panic in the area, with 3 villages with nearly 600 people being evacuated. It is a state of emergency in that area. Moving on to other stories that are making international headlines. In Nepal, there are communal tensions flying thick and fast over a social media post. I am a war prisoner, says and pleads Nicolas Maduro in court as he faces the United States law. Meanwhile, in Venezuela, there was another late-night attack that took place near the presidential palace. And finally, shifting our focus to what's happening in Iran, the whereabouts of Khamenei is unknown and the protests in the country are only getting all the way more aggressive. 6 stories for you, starting first up with the top story. Ladies and gentlemen, Jawaharlal Nehru University in Delhi once again found itself in the middle of a political controversy. This as a late-night gathering to commemorate the 6th anniversary of the 2020 campus violence morphed into a heated protest against the Supreme Court's denial of bail to former students Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam in the 2020 Delhi riots conspiracy. First, let's listen to what happened last night. What began as a solemn remembrance escalated when participants allegedly raised inflammatory slogans targeting the Prime Minister and the Union Home Minister Amit Shah, including threats of grave digging on campus soil, prompting the university administration to deem them highly objectionable and provocative, and also seek an FIR from the Delhi police for potential disruption of public order and contempt of court. The incident, echoing the 2016 sedition, now drew swift condemnation from the BJP leaders, who labelled it anti-national, while the opposition voices defended the right to dissent amid the ongoing student grievances over library surveillance measures, reigniting debates over free speech and campus politics. Here is what the controversy is all about.
January 5th marked 6 years since masked attackers assaulted students and teachers inside the JNU campus in 2020, an incident that remains unresolved. The JNU Teachers Association observed the day as a remembrance, saying the attackers are still unidentified. The JNU Students' Union organized a late-night event called a Guerrilla Dhaba near Sabarmati Hostel to commemorate the violence. However, controversy erupted after videos surfaced showing students raging objectionable slogans against the Prime Minister and Home Minister. The protest also focused on the Supreme Court rejecting bail pleas of terrorists Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam in the 2020 Delhi riots case.
सांपों के फन कुचले जा रहे हैं और सपोले बिलबिला रहे हैं। ये जो लोग हैं जो आतंकवादियों के समर्थन में नारे लगाते हैं, नक्सलवादियों के समर्थन में नारे लगाते हैं, दंगाइयों के समर्थन में नारे लगाते हैं, इन्हें पता लग चुका है कि जहां नक्सलवादी होते थे वहां नक्सलवादियों को ख़त्म किया जा रहा है, जहां आतंकवादी होते थे वहां आतंकवादियों को ख़त्म किया जा रहा है और दिल्ली के खिलाफ साजिश रचने वाले दंगाइयों को सुप्रीम कोर्ट पहचान चुका है और उनको कठोर सजा देने का रास्ता खुल चुका है।
Students termed the court decision an attack on dissent and demanded the immediate release of the two accused. The BJP has strongly condemned the protest and termed it unfortunate.
ये जो हो रहा है ना, ये सिर्फ जेएनयू के भी लिए नुकसानदेह है, जेएनयू के छात्रों के लिए भी नुकसानदेह है, जेएनयू की फैकल्टी के लिए भी नुकसानदेह है और देश के लिए नुकसानदेह है। एक सम्मानित शिक्षा का कैंपस जो है वो अराजकता और उद्दंडता का केंद्र बन जाए, सम्मानित शिक्षा का जो है वो की बजाय जो है वो सांप्रदायिक दीक्षा का केंद्र बन जाए, तो अफसोस की बात है।
Another major issue that was raised was the installation of facial recognition cameras and magnetic gates inside the university library. The students called it excessive surveillance.
ये लोग नफरत की आग में अंधे हो चुके हैं। ये द्वेष भावना में इतना है कि इनके अंतिम समय निकट है। बार बार ये भारतीय स्टेट के खिलाफ नारेबाजी करते हैं, भारतीय न्यायपालिका के खिलाफ नारेबाजी करते हैं और बच के चले जाते हैं, जबकि इनकी भी जगह, ये लोग जो सिंपैथाइज कर रहे हैं ये भी नक्सली हैं और इनकी भी जगह वही शारजील उमर खालिद की जो जगह जेल में है, ये लोग भी वहीं पहुँचने वाले हैं। वो भी यहीं से वहाँ पहुँचे थे, ये लोग भी वहीं पहुँचने वाले हैं। और जेएनयू में नक्सलियों का बहुत पॉकेट्स कम बचा है, लेकिन इस तरह की बातें करके, इस तरह की नारेबाजी करके बहुत प्रासंगिक बने रहना चाहते हैं।
The Delhi police has sent notices to some JNU Students' Union office bearers for questioning over the protests, while the JNU administration has written to the Delhi police seeking the registration of an FIR, calling the slogans provocative and a violation of campus rules. The university has now issued a statement calling out the protesters and denouncing the provocative slogans.
And ladies and gentlemen, in a significant victory for the Hindu devotees, the Madurai bench of the Madras High Court dismissed appeals by the Tamil Nadu government and others, upholding a single judge order permitting the annual lighting of the Kartikeya Deepam at the ancient stone pillar known as the Deepathun atop hill in Madurai. The division bench sharply rebuked the state's law and order concerns as ridiculous and an imaginary ghost, cautioning against politicizing the issue while emphasizing that the ritual rooted in historical temple records does not violate Agama Sastras or infringe on the Dargah's rights.
Celebrations in Madurai. This as devotees advocates and petitioners welcomed the High Court verdict allowing the lighting of the sacred Deepam on the Deepathoon at the Thiruparankuntram temple. The issue centers around the Deepathoon, an ancient stone pillar located atop the Thiruparankuntram hill near the Murugan temple. For decades, devotees have followed the practice of lighting a Deepam on the pillar as a religious tradition visible from the surrounding areas. The practice was stopped after objections were raised, with the Tamil Nadu government citing possible law and order concerns and claiming the ritual could lead to communal tension. The restriction was challenged in court by devotees and Hindu organizations, who argued it was a long-standing religious practice. The Madurai bench of the Madras High Court upheld the earlier ruling of Justice G.R. Swaminathan, clearing the way for the traditional lamp to be lit atop the ancient pillar on the hill.
They have said it is an auspicious place on an auspicious day, that is on Kartikeya Deepam, the light has to be lit. And they have also indicated that it is a tradition where lighting of a lamp at the top of the hill so that the devotees at the foothills and the nearby vicinity area can see that and worship. And lighting the lamp is also treated to be a sign of Shiva. That is what the judges have read in the judgment. We will have to wait for the copy of the judgment to so that we can express our view in elaborate conditions.
The court made it clear that the lamp must be lit only by temple authorities. No members of the public will be allowed to accompany them. The Archaeological Survey of India can impose safeguards and the district collector will supervise the entire process. The Tamil Nadu government had opposed the move, citing fears of law and order problems, but the High Court strongly rejected this argument. The state government had moved an appeal against the single-judge order, reiterating its stand that allowing the ritual could pose a threat to public order and communal harmony. The court said it was ridiculous and hard to believe that a powerful state feared disturbance from the lighting of a lamp. It also rejected claims suggesting the pillar belonged to a dargah, calling such submissions mischievous. The bench observed that lighting a Deepam at an elevated place is a long-standing Hindu practice meant to be visible to all devotees, and there was no valid reason for the temple administration to deny the request.
The Honorable High Court of Tamil Nadu, in a division bench order today, has given justice to the devotees of this very, very old and ancient temple atop the Thiruparankuntram hills.
The court warned that creating imaginary fears of unrest only breeds mistrust between communities and undermines harmony. With the High Court's ruling now upheld, the path is clear for the traditional Deepam to be lit under strict supervision, marking a major legal and cultural victory for devotees at Thiruparankuntram.
A massive gas blowout at ONGC's Mori 5 well in Andhra Pradesh has triggered a towering jet fire during repair operations, forcing the evacuation of residents from nearby villages and sparking widespread panic. The blaze, reaching up to 20 to 25 meters in height, raged into its second day despite cooling efforts, through its intensity diminished by January 6 as firefighters created a water umbrella. Here is what the situation looks like on ground.
A massive jet fire, rising nearly 20 meters high and spreading over 25 meters wide, erupted at an ONGC-owned gas well due to a gas leak. Dense black smoke and a strong, pungent smell spread rapidly, prompting Konasima's locals to immediately alert emergency services. Officials confirmed the fire continued to burn for more than 20 hours before its intensity began to reduce. ONGC has deployed specialized expert teams from Delhi and Mumbai to douse the gas well blaze and prevent escalation. As a precaution, residents of 3 nearby villages were evacuated due to the risk posed by the highly inflammable gas. Reports confirm 80% of the fire is under control, with active effort to control the rest. A rehabilitation center has been now set up to shelter displaced families. Authorities say that the situation remains under close monitoring as efforts continue to fully extinguish the fire and secure the drilling site.
And in stories that are making international headlines, in Nepal's Madhesh province, a video posted by 2 youth containing alleged anti-Hindu remarks sparked intense communal tensions, leading to the vandalism of a mosque in Dhanusha district. This provoked widespread outrage among one community who staged protests in Birgunj and other southern areas involving tire burning, stone pelting and clashes with police that resulted in injuries. Here is what the situation in ground looks like right now. The situation has escalated and the area is extremely tensed.
In the heart of Nepal's Madhesh region, a seemingly innocuous social media post has ignited widespread communal unrest, leading to protests, vandalism, and curfews. What began as offensive religious comments on social media has spiraled into clashes between communities. The spark, a video put on social media posted by 2 Muslim youths allegedly containing anti-Hindu remarks.
Hindu-Muslim riots are quite unheard of in Nepal. But this week, Nepal is in the news for all the wrong reasons, which is an incident of Hindu-Muslim tension across southern Nepal. It all started from Janakpur in Madhesh province in southern Nepal bordering Bihar, where 2 youths posted TikTok videos which Hindus found objectionable, and thereafter they retaliated by attacking a madrasa in Dhanusha district in Janakpur, and later on Tarai-wide, Madhesh-wide, across southern Nepal there have been protests, and officials in Kathmandu have appealed for calm. The Madhesh province government in Tarai.
In retaliation, a group of youths vandalized a mosque in Dhanusha district's Kamala municipality. This act fueled outrage among Muslim groups who took to the streets in Birgunj and other parts of southern Nepal, protesting the alleged attack and demanding accountability. Protests quickly turned volatile with reports of stone pelting in various areas, including Birgunj. Clashes with police ensued, resulting in injuries and heightened tensions across the Madhesh province. Authorities responded swiftly, imposing a curfew in Birgunj, a key border city with India. Security forces have been authorized to take strict measures, including firing if necessary, to maintain order.
Quickly moving across to what's happening in Venezuela, where last night there was heavy gunfire that erupted at the presidential palace on the night of January 5, 2026, amid heightened tensions following the United States-led capture and removal of the former president Nicolas Maduro just days earlier. Here is what happened last night and how the situation is only escalating.
Multiple gunshots, skyline marred with unidentified drones. This was downtown Caracas as unidentified drones allegedly attacked the area around the Venezuelan presidential palace. Unidentified drones were reportedly seen near the presidential complex in Venezuela's capital. prompting a response from the Presidential Honor Guard. Locals in downtown Caracas captured the drone attack around the Presidential Palace area on Monday night. Intense gunfire and explosions were heard in areas near the Presidential Palace, with government buildings immediately evacuated. Power outages also occurred in parts of Caracas as per local reports.
The president and Nicolas Maduro and Celia Flores declares from the judge not guilty. Second, the vice president, Delcy Rodriguez, was sworn in the presidency of Venezuela in midday, more or less. But the journalists, to make coverage of that activity, 7 of that journalists was arrested. That situation generates so many comments in Caracas.
The police later confirmed that gunshots were fired by them in response to the unauthorized flight of drones over the area, denying any instance of confrontation. Though the ministry reiterates that situation nationwide remains stable, the timing of these drones just after the US strikes raises eyebrows.
And on to the final story that we're tracking on this edition. There are ongoing protests in Iran which have now spread across dozens of cities, with fresh reports of deaths and mass detention as demonstrators rage against the economic collapse. But the world is asking one question that still lingers on is, where actually is Khamenei amid all of the protests and the strong warnings that are being issued?
Iran continues to be on the edge. Protests continue to rock cities across Iran. Widespread public anger over economic collapse and the plunging riot spills into the streets of Tehran and beyond. The death toll in protests has climbed to at least 35 people, as demonstrations show no signs of slowing and continue to spread nationwide. Among those killed are 29 protesters, 4 children and 2 members of Iran's security forces. More than 1,200 people have been detained so far, with mass arrests reported over the past 24 hours as security forces intensify their crackdown on protesters. The demonstrations have now reached over 250 locations across 27 of Iran's 31 provinces, marking one of the widest protest movements the country has seen in years. What began as outrage over runaway inflation and the collapsing Iranian rial has evolved into open defiance of the political leadership, with the chants increasingly targeting the ruling establishment. Iran's Revolutionary Guard and paramilitary forces remain deployed in major cities, using force, arrests and internet restrictions to contain the unrest. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has not appeared publicly in recent days. His office has issued statements rejecting the protests as foreign-inspired, even as speculations circulate on social media claiming contingency plans, including a possible relocation to Moscow. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump has warned of possible American intervention if Iranian authorities violently suppress peaceful protesters, a statement Tehran has dismissed as external interference. With protests entering their second week, pressure mounting on the leadership and no clear signs of de-escalation, Iran appears headed for a volatile and uncertain phase, both domestically and on the global stage.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
QS and THE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जलजीरा मसाला।
There will be no asymmetry of power in this country, that the power is with the people. Our job and our commitment is to drive public opinion in the direction that it can make a change. Is AI a bubble or will it last?
प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरी डे।
5, 4, 3 S200 motors. Plus 20 seconds. Lift off normal. L40 stages are ignited. Plus 5 seconds. Plus 20 seconds. First stage performance normal. L40 stages thrust cut off. Plus 5 seconds.
Auto tracking.
PT driver tracking.
PSLV 661 का सफलतापूर्ण उत्थापन प्रथम प्रमोचन मंच से अपने उद्दिष्ट कक्षा की ओर अपना सफर जारी कर चुका है।
Performance normal.
There's a magnificent
2, 1, 0.
All L40 engines generating nominal thrust. S139 motor ignited. First stage performance normal.
One, 0.
S200 motors ignited.
Plus 5 seconds.
P1 tracking. S200 motors separated.
Two, 1, 0.
First stage performance normal.
The Venezuelan opposition leader and Nobel Peace Prize winner Maria Machado has vowed to return to Venezuela amid the unfolding crisis. She rejects the rule of interim President Rodriguez and also says that she is willing to offer her Peace Prize to Donald Trump. Well, Trump must be very, very happy about it. We'll get you all the details and much more on Trending Tonight with me, Rakshita, at 7:30 p.m.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
मेरी चिमनी टूट जाएगी। What are you doing?
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे,
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा।
When we look out at the world, Samir, we look for partners. We don't look for preachers. Engaging America has become more complicated. You all know why. Huh? Having a neighbor that is an epicenter of global terrorism.
India in 2025 saw many international diplomatic moments of India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, who literally turned international politics and the diplomacy that comes with it into an art of savage roasts. From jeering comments on Pakistan to calling out Trump and Western hypocrisy, here are the top roast moments of the year 2025, where Jaishankar served cold but harsh truths month by month.
All big countries are unique to an extent, but we would certainly hope, to the extent we think of democracy as a universal aspiration, ideally a reality, but at least an aspiration. It is in large part because India chose a democratic model after independence. And it chose a democratic model because we had fundamentally a consultative, pluralistic society. Now, there was a time, and I have to say this in all honesty, where West treated democracy as a Western characteristic and was busy encouraging non-democratic forces in the global South. It still does. In many cases, I can point to some very recent ones, where actually everything that you say you value at home, you don't practice abroad. So I do think the rest of the global South will view, the successes and the shortcomings and the responses of other countries. They will also ask themselves which ones of them they relate to, I would argue that in many ways, India, because it's historically been an open society, one very much linked with the world, many countries of the global South are more likely to say the Indian experience is more transposable to their societies than perhaps those of others. So I do think in our progress as a democracy, the fact that for all the challenges that we've had, even at a low income, we have stayed true to the democratic model, which is almost, if you look at our part of the world, we are pretty much the only country that has.
Controversial slogans raised on JNU campus. Open show of support for Tukde Tukde terrorists Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam. JNU asks for FIR to be filed.
अब ये इंडिया अलायंस के लोग इस प्रकार का व्यक्तिगत माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के खिलाफ जो बयान देते हैं, उसका हर बार उनको भुगतान मिला है, जनता ने जवाब दिया है.
BJP questions Tukde lobby over provocative sloganeering on the campus. Death threats also that were issued. Big win for the Hindu side as Madurai bench of the Madras High Court asks Thiruparankundaram temple to light the lamp, upholds Justice Swaminathan order of December 1. Rescue operations continue in Andhra Pradesh after ONGC gas leak. At least 600 evacuated. Fresh round of protests reported in Iran. Unrest at 27 locations. Ayatollah Khamenei absent from public view. All right, welcome friends, and let's begin with a big breaking development coming in. It seems European leadership is showing some spine or willing to give a go at it or have a go at it. And in doing so, they have released a joint statement defending Greenland and its ownership of Denmark, or Greenland as the territory of Denmark. That's a statement, joint statement, big one, being released or has been released by the office of the Prime Minister of Denmark, Mette Frederiksen. Remember, she has taken a strong position earlier, fending off any suggestion from the United States that Greenland could be taken over, if need be, by force, like the US has done in the case of Venezuela. And Niranjan joins us live from the newsroom for more on this. Niranjan, that seems like very authentic, strong statement coming in from the European leadership, finally showing some spine against a very belligerent United States.
Well, I don't know about spine, because the last time they all sat in front of Donald Trump, you had that embarrassing picture where each of them almost succumbed and was seated there like little children around a table, right across the headmaster's table. That was the photo that came out when Zelensky was there. A few months back, we were live when that photo op happened. But it appears that there is something that is brewing in Europe with them pushing back, looking at the strongly worded statement. Abhishek, in fact, after you sent it, we did a double check to see really if European leaders had stood up to Trump. But I'd like to read out from the statement because it's pretty interesting what European Union nations have said in this joint statement on Greenland. Statement by the President of France, Macron, Chancellor Merz of Germany, Prime Minister Meloni of Italy, Prime Minister Tusk of Poland, Prime Minister Sanchez of Spain, Prime Minister Starmer of United Kingdom, Prime Minister Frederiksen of Denmark on Greenland, saying Arctic security remains a key priority for Europe and it's critical for international and transatlantic security, adding that NATO has made clear that the Arctic region is a priority and European allies are stepping up. We and many other allies have increased our presence, activities, investments to keep the Arctic safe and to deter adversaries. The Kingdom of Denmark, including Greenland, is part of NATO. Security in the Arctic must therefore be achieved collectively in conjunction with NATO allies, including the United States, by upholding the principles of the UN Charter, including sovereignty, territorial integrity, and the inviolability of borders. These are universal principles and we will not stop defending them. The United States is an essential partner in this endeavor as a NATO ally, and through the defense agreement between Kingdom of Denmark and the United States, 1951, Greenland belongs to its people. It is for Denmark and Greenland and them only to decide on matters concerning Denmark and Greenland. Essentially, European leaders, you said it right, they found a spine and they're actually reading out the rule book to Trump to say that whatever he's been rattling about Greenland is in bad taste and it amounts to violating sovereignty of Denmark and Greenland.
Yeah, Niranjan, the reason why I said that Europe finally showing some spine is because it was not very far back in history that we had someone called Mark Rutte mentioning or calling President Trump as Daddy Trump. And so I think that seems like some evolution happening there in the European understanding of scheme of things. Post the Venezuela development, they are really, so to say, scared that the Americans might follow the Venezuelan template and take over Greenland militarily, in which case there would be a lot of egg and a lot more on the face of European leadership fending off that the possibility of that American attack. Thank you so much, Niranjan, for joining us with those details from the newsroom. And with that, we move on to another breaking one, big one again. And that's part of India's prep for Operation Sindhu 2.0. It seems India has issued a NOTAM, which is notice to airmen warning for a possible naval missile test in the Bay of Bengal region for a range of up to 500 kilometers. Remember, India has been on a missile testing spree of late, both in the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal, both of the western seaboard and of the eastern seaboard. And we have Ishan joining us live for more on this, our defense correspondent. All right, Ishan, can you share some more details about what kind of naval missile test this could be in the Bay of Bengal?
Absolutely. The range of the test is around 500 kilometers with a height of around 300 meters above sea level. And this is indicative of a missile test that is basically a cruise missile and not a ballistic missile. This is possibly the M4 missile that has been recently been under development by the DRDO and could be the M4 missile, or it could be another variant of the missiles that have already been inducted by the Indian Navy, such as the Nirbhaya missile or the other. But what is clear from this NOTAM is that this is most probably a test of a cruise missile, not a ballistic missile, and it would be a short-range missile, possibly a surface-to-air missile or a surface-to-surface missile, not an air-launch variant of the other. This is all coming through because of the details that have been provided in the NOTAM, and that is the range that has been provided and the service height that has been provided, that showcases the type of test that may be conducted by the Indian Armed Forces in this particular duration of the NOTAM. Back to you.
All right, thank you so much. Pralay earlier and possibly an M4 missile now. Thank you, Ishan, with those details. And of course, when the test happens, we'll come back to you. Moving on, another development. This time, the Bangladeshi minorities in the diaspora outside of Bangladesh, this time in France, have come out with a protest rally that was held in Paris against the persecution of minorities in their home country. These are essentially Hindus, Buddhists, Jains, who are originally from Bangladesh, immigrant Bangladeshis, so to say, but are residents of France and are demonstrating in Paris. You can listen to some nats.
বিভিন্ন মুক্তিযোদ্ধা বাংলাদেশকে যারা স্বাধীন করেছিল ছোট সন্তান তাদেরকে বিভিন্নভাবে দেখেছে জুতার শুরু হয়েছে মানে বাংলাদেশের ইতিহাসে আমি জানি এখানে আমার অনেক বয়োজ্যেষ্ঠ আছে এই মততন্ত্র কখনো ছিল কিনা হিসেবে আমাদের বিভিন্ন মুক্তিযোদ্ধা বাংলাদেশকে যারা স্বাধীন করেছিল ছোট সন্তান তাদেরকে বিভিন্নভাবে দেখেছে জুতার শুরু হয়েছে মানে বাংলাদেশের ইতিহাসে আমি জানি এখানে আমার অনেক বয়োজ্যেষ্ঠ আছে এই মততন্ত্র কখনো ছিল কিনা বা আগে কখনো দেখেছেন কিনা আমার এই 51 বছর বয়সে জানা নেই।
And this is happening because this spree of minority killings, specifically the Hindus, continues unabated in Bangladesh. 2 more Hindu men have been killed in the last 24 hours alone in separate attacks, taking the total number of such killings to 6 in the last 18 days. The latest victims include a grocery store owner hacked to death and a journalist shot in the head at close range. Here are the details.
2 killings, 2 districts, less than 24 hours apart. Bangladesh is once again in focus after fresh attacks on members of the Hindu minority. The first incident was reported from Narsingli district. 40-year-old Saratmani Chakrabarti, a Hindu grocery store owner, was attacked with the sharp weapons late on Monday. Sources say Saratmani Chakrabarti was targeted while returning after closing his grocery shop. According to local reports, on 19th of December, Chakrabarti had posted on Facebook expressing concern about rising violence in Bangladesh, describing his birthplace as having become a valley of death. And police are now investigating whether that post may have been a factor in his killing. He was allegedly surrounded and repeatedly attacked with sharp weapons, leaving him critically injured. He was rushed for medical help but later succumbed to his wounds. Hours earlier, another killing shook Jashore district. Rana Pratap, a factory owner and acting editor of a local newspaper, was shot dead by unidentified assailants. The attackers arrived on a motorcycle. They allegedly called Pratap out of his ice factory, dragged him into an alley, shot him in the head and slit his throat. 7 bullet castings were recovered from the spot. These two killings take the toll to at least 6 Hindu men killed in Bangladesh in just the last 18 days, showing a disturbing pattern of increased violence against minorities. On 3rd of January, 50-year-old Khokon Chandra Das was brutally attacked and set on fire while returning home after closing his shop. On 29th of December, 40-year-old Bajendra Biswas was shot dead in Mymensingh. Just days earlier, on 24th of December, 29-year-old Amrit Mondal was lynched by a mob in Rajbari district over allegations of extortion. On 18th of December, another Hindu man, Deepu Chandra Das, was lynched by a mob in Mymensingh. His body was later set on fire following allegations of blasphemy. The incidents involving shootings, lynchings, arson and sexual violence have intensified fear among minority communities across Bangladesh. India has expressed grave concern for what it calls unremitting hostility against minorities in Bangladesh. The External Affairs Ministry says over 2,900 incidents of violence against minorities, including killings, arson and land grabs, have been documented by independent sources during the tenure of the interim government under Mohammad Yunus. Political reactions within India have also intensified, with calls for stronger diplomatic pressure on Dhaka. Leaders say the issue goes beyond politics and concerns basic human rights and minority safety. With killings continuing, fears deepening and repeated warnings already issued, the spotlight continues on Bangladesh's interim administration. Despite mounting incidents and international concern, there has been little visible action on the ground, raising serious questions over accountability, enforcement and the safety of Hindu minority community.
Moving on, in a major setback to the left-wing extremism states and the Maoists there, senior PLGA or People's Liberation Guerrilla Army commander Barse Deva alias Badse Sukka, a close aide of the slain Madhvi Hidma, surrendered before Telangana police on January 3, 2026, along with 19 cadres and a cache of arms, 48 sophisticated weapons. We have exclusive report on this, including a tic-tac with one of the surrendered Maoists.
PLGA, that is the People's Liberation Guerrilla Army's commander Barse Deva has surrendered in front of the Telangana police recently. We are being joined by him. Sir, आप more than 20 साल हो चुके हैं आपकी मॉइस्ट पार्टी में आप जुड़े हुए. आप ये सरेंडर के पीछे की अचानक क्यों ये सरेंडर किए थे आप?
मई दिसंबर 29 तारीख में मैं मुख्य काम के लिए बाहर जा रहा था. जाते समय मेरा बुलोरो को पुलिस चेक करके वहाँ पकड़े हैं. पकड़ के इधर लाया है. लाने के बाद आज का परिस्थिति को देख के ये सरेंडर करने का निर्णय लिए हैं.
एक बहुत सरप्राइजिंग चीज़ ये थी कि जो आपके हथियार थे जिसके साथ आप सरेंडर किए थे वो बहुत पुलिस के लिए भी बहुत आश्चर्य थी, जैसे कि वो इज़राइल की जो वेपन हैं या फिर हेलीकॉप्टर शॉट्स हैं. तो ये वेपन्स आपको कहाँ से मिल रहा था और या आप तैयार कर रहे थे तो आपको कितना इंटेलिजेंट ट्रेनिंग कहाँ से मिला था ये वेपन्स तैयार करने में?
हाँ, मेरा वो सरेंडर के समय पेश किए हैं हथियार. वो हथियार पुलिस का हथियार है, वो हम नहीं बनाया है. वो पुलिस के चीज़ किया वाला हथियार है. वो टावर भी, वो AKSLR भी, वो भी पुलिस का है.
अभी मॉइस्ट पार्टी का क्या हाल है? जैसे हम देख रहे हैं बड़े बड़े जो नेता हैं, आपके नेता हैं, वो सरेंडर कर रहे हैं. कुछ लोग एनकाउंटर में भी नहीं जा चुके थे. तो अभी मॉइस्ट पार्टी का क्या हाल है?
माओइस्ट पार्टी का परिस्थिति बहुत मुठभेड़ हुए हैं. मुठभेड़ में बहुत साथी लोग शहीद हो रहे हैं. बाकी लोग घर में वापस जा रहे हैं. बाकी लोग वो सरेंडर हो रहे हैं, इसीलिए थोड़ा कमज़ोर है. बाकी पार्टी का स्थिति इस समय तो कमज़ोरी है.
All right, Maoists surrender there, and one more admitting that the government is really going tough and becomes difficult for them to survive in the forest, so they come out. Moving on, let's look at some other stories from across the country in Bharat in 1 minute. Administration undertook demolition drive against the builders of a mosque in Raya Buzurg area in Sambal. The bulldozer action comes a day after administration demolished the mosque using heavy machinery. Officials said the builders failed to produce land ownership record of their houses and that they had encroached on panchayat land. Protests have erupted in various parts of Manipur over the serial blasts in Bishnupur that happened yesterday. Mass sit-in protests are being organized in Imphal condemning the bombings. Women's organizations staged protests demanding immediate action and accountability. The Aam Aadmi Party staged protest in Delhi Assembly premises. MLAs of the Aam Aadmi Party attacked the BJP government over the issue of severe AQI problem in Delhi NCR.
At 7 p.m. on This Is Exclusive. Will it be Greenland, Colombia, Cuba or Iran? There is buzz over who Trump goes after next. Or is it just about drill, baby, drill? Is it all about oil? We have some exclusive inputs from 8 countries on This Is Exclusive. 7 p.m.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार.
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा हार्डकोर मसाला.
QS and THE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
5, 4, 3
S200 motors.
plus 20 seconds.
Lift off normal.
L40 stages are ignited. Plus 5 seconds. Plus 20 seconds. First stage performance normal. L40 stages thrust cut off. Plus 5 seconds. Auto tracking. PT driver tracking.
PSLV 661 का सफलतापूर्ण उत्थापन प्रथम प्रमोचन मंच से अपने उद्दिष्ट कक्षा की ओर अपना सफर जारी कर चुका है।
Normal.
There's a magnificent
2, 1, 0.
All L40 engines generating nominal thrust. S139 motor ignited. First stage performance normal. S200 motors ignited.
Plus 5 seconds.
P1 tracking. S200 motors separated.
Two, 1, 0.
First stage
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप। मेरी चिमनी टूट जाएगी। What are you doing?
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा,
राजा आर प्योर मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।